Peter Doocy spars with Karine Jean-Pierre regarding rising gas prices. Democrats go silent when questioned about the border crisis. And we have Jessica Tarlov defending abortion access, but accidentally makes the case for securing the border. All of that and more here on The Bald Brad Show. Welcome to The Bald Brad Show. It is Wednesday, October 5th, and as always, I couldn't be happier than to kick these mornings off right, doing The Bald Brad Show and hanging out with all of you, my friends and true American patriots, where we come together as a community of conservatives and Republicans, go over the stories of the day, and bring you all the news and information you need to know about. So if you want to join us here at The Bald Brad Show and you haven't done so already, what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button. If you're over at Rumble, hit the plus and give us a comment down below. And if you're listening on any of the podcast airwaves, Apple, Google, Spotify, heck, folks, you can find us and listen to us anywhere and everywhere. Leave us a lovely 5-star review. Not only would you be helping a conservative, but most importantly, you'd be supporting getting conservative thought and ideas out there to new viewers who haven't seen our content or our channel. So your help and support would be greatly appreciated. Take a moment to hit that like button, but also double check to make sure that bell notification icon's clicked so you're notified whenever we go live or upload a video, which is Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, with Supernatural Saturdays and a sprinkling of politics on Sundays. Be notified by hitting that bell notification icon. With that being said, we got a banger of a show here for y'all today. Let's kick it off with our lead story, with the gladiator, Peter Doocy, Fox News reporter, sparring with White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre over rising gas prices. Now let's take a little trip down memory lane here real fast, because Joe Biden was elected, and yet gas prices increased roughly 40%. Vladimir Putin decided it was a good idea to invade Ukraine, and gas prices continue to increase. And what did the White House do? You think they blamed Joe Biden for that? No. They blamed Vladimir Putin. They called it the Putin price hike. And they never started when Joe Biden was in office. No. They started when Russia invaded Ukraine. And then what we saw months later, prices started trickling down. And so you had Joe Biden coming out with his walker, doing a victory lap. Karine Jean-Pierre was up there on the podium every single day with a nice spreadsheet showing a negative slope for gas prices, taking all the credit for it. Well, now we have gas prices going back up, and I wonder who they're going to blame again. I guarantee you they're going to blame Vladimir Putin, because the theme of today's show is that Democrats never take personal responsibility for anything. It's always anybody and everybody else's fault except their own. Let's go ahead and see it in real time with Peter Doocy. Question her again on gas prices. Let's go ahead and roll it.
Okay. Thanks, Karine. You've said the president was responsible for gas prices coming down. Is the president responsible for gas prices going up?
So it's a lot more nuanced than that, right? Peter, you know this. There have been global challenges that we have dealt with. When I say all, meaning other countries as well, have dealt with since the pandemic. There's been pandemic and there's been Putin's war. And Putin's war has increase gas prices at the pump. We have seen that over the past several months. And what the president was able to do, he took some historic steps when you think about the Strategic Petroleum Reserve and making sure that we were able to do everything that we can to bring that cost down for American families, give them a little bit more of a breathing room. And we saw that. We saw that every day this summer, saving American families over $1 per gallon. And so that is what the president's going to continue to stay focused on, to our American consumers. How do we continue to keep prices down? That's why we did the
You got to love this whole aspect, and I'll continue in a moment. But you got to love them saying that they're saving you $1. It's been going up since he's been in office. They're not saving you anything. You're still spending more. You saving money would be gas prices being lower than they were when Joe Biden took office. Then yes, you'd be saving money. Meaning if he came into office and it was $3 a gallon, by then pushing down to $2 a gallon, would then you saving $1? But no. They're going to push this whole thing. The whole thing is if they're saving you money, they're doing you a favor, you guys. They're helping out you all here, which isn't helping at all, because now that summer's over, what do we see? Gas prices going back up. What do we see? Oh, it's Putin's fault again. What do we see? Oh, it's more nuanced. It's nuanced, Peter, okay? And you know that. But it wasn't nuanced when you were all doing a victory lap, posting stuff on Twitter, chauffeuring out Joe Biden and everybody else, the energy secretary, ranting and raving about the work that he's doing by tapping into our petroleum reserve, which is supposed to be left for hurricanes like Florida or a military usage if and when that was to happen with this whole Russia-Ukraine or sending stuff to our allies. But no. What did they do? They sent stuff to China. They sent about 1 million barrels to China, in which, guess who had a little bit of some money dove into that investment? What's his name? Oh, it's Biden's son. It's Hunter Biden who had a little bit of investments, but they don't want to bring that up here because they're doing everything they can for you folks, because now you're saving a little more than $1. Yeah, right. Let's continue.
Inflation Reduction Act, that's why we talk about the CHIPS Act. All of these things are going to help Americans here in this country.
And there are consumers now in California paying $6.41 a gallon for gas. Nevada, $5.51, Oregon, $5.46. Who can afford that?
And we understand that. That's why the president worked so hard the past several months to make sure that he did everything we can to bring gas prices down. We have seen fastest. I know you're pulling out a couple of areas across the country, and I get that. And we understand that there's more work to do. We have never said we were done here. We have always been very clear that there is more work to do. But we have seen, the reality is, we have seen the fastest decline in gasoline prices in over a decade. That's because of what this president has done. And again, prices going down by more than $1 per gallon. And these are real savings. They're talking about $100 per month in savings for an average family with 2 cars.
When the president
folks, it's just a bunch of BS. We've all seen it time and time again. I read your comments. You all see it as well. It's just like, I love how they list out everything that they do on certain things, and the very things that they do pretty much have no effect on what they're doing, and things just get worse. Gas price is just one of the many issues that you could spotlight that on. Or you could look at the immigration thing, how she'll give a litany of things that Joe Biden's done. He's lost sleep over it. He's doing everything he possibly can, and you still have record-breaking numbers. Same thing with gas prices. Pretty much on every level, Joe Biden's doing everything he possibly can, and everything just continues to get worse. And otherwise she goes, oh, well, he did this over summer. He was working really hard. Does that mean he stopped working on it because gas prices went up? Like, what do you mean by that messaging? It just continues to get worse here.
To Saudi Arabia, he said, I'm doing all I can to increase the supply for the United States of America, which I expect to happen. What happened?
So I want to be very clear, and we have said that, his trip to the Middle East was not about oil. It was about America's position in the Middle East and consultation with 12 leaders from across the region on a range of issues similar to his summits in Asia.
She just got done saying that this guy's doing anything and everything he can. And then you have the balls to sit there, and the dude went to one of the most richest oil countries in the world. And you're going to be like, yeah, he didn't talk about oil at all. Is anybody losing their mind over that? Yeah, he's doing everything he can, but nope, not a lick of the word oil came out. Nothing whatsoever. But he's doing everything he can, you guys. You're saving $1 at the pump, okay? All because of the Inflation Reduction Act. I'm laughing. I want to laugh through this whole thing because it's so stupid. She is so bad at her job. She's going to sit there and say with the Saudi Arabia never talked about gas or oil. Nope. This White House is so bad. So all you could do is laugh, you guys. There's either 2 routes. We continue to get pissed off every day, or we can have some fun with it and just laugh at these knuckleheads, this clown show, trying to put on a basically a terrible performance here and lie to the American public each and every day. Sometimes we're going to get pissed. Sometimes we're going to laugh. But today is just all about laughing because boy, oh boy, are they pushing one on the American people here.
Or the Americas, and later this year with African leaders. The president's trip was crucial. It was critical to U.S. national security, a more peaceful, integrated region, and for global security. And there were plenty of examples that we laid out to all of you as why this trip was so important. But aside from that, the president took action. As I just mentioned, he took action these past several months, and every day in this summer, you saw prices tick down at the pump. But we didn't just stop there. We saw legislative actions, historic actions that the president took to make sure that we're continuing to create jobs in America. We're continuing to lower prices. So there are multiple actions that this president has taken.
You also got to love that aspect of her talking about the summer, right? Remember that question? And I forget who asked it. I don't know if it was Phil Wegman, Peter Doocy, or Jackie Henrik. One of them asked a question, and she was kind of kept emphasizing that she wants to talk about the here and now. She doesn't want to talk about the past. But that's all she's doing here is talk about the summer. She's talking about the past. She doesn't want to talk about the here and now, of which the questions we're talking about the here and now. What's going on? Why did things not work out? You took all the credit before. Why don't you want to take the credit now? Because again, it's just a theme with that party. They don't want to take personal responsibility. And I'm not saying you don't see it from the Republican Party. You do. And I think we need to do a better job as Republicans and conservatives to call out our own party when we don't take responsibility for the things that we put into place. But boy, oh boy, it's very far and few between that you're going to see a Democrat rise up and be like, oh, whoops, that's our fault. We probably shouldn't have done it. Maybe the best you're going to get is Joe Manchin on the Inflation Reduction Act, of him actually saying, yeah, you know what? Whoopsie, it's not going to reduce inflation and do what it says it's going to do in the name, but typical shenanigans from the Democrats. Speaking of typical shenanigans from the Democrats, we have Bill, I think his name is Melugin. He's a reporter with Fox News, and he goes and catches Democrats while they're walking, while they're at their home, and basically asks them about the border crisis, what's going on with it. Typical of a Democrat, silent, doesn't want to answer questions because they know it's a sham. They know that they're doing a whole number on the border down there at Mexico by allowing over 1,500 gotaways a day. That's just the ones that we don't even know about. They're just into the interior of the country. They're seeing 6,000 to 12,000, sometimes 15,000, depending on the day, of the ones that are being apprehended. So over 2 million people have come through the border, well over 2 million people since Joe Biden's taken office. He literally broke the record for the entire United States since the inception of the Republic. The guy is smashing records left and right, and it's all bad, of course. So here we have it, him going out here and questioning Democrats. It's a fabulous video from Fox News. Let's go ahead and roll it.
We came here to D.C., and we're looking for some answers. 250,000 unaccompanied migrant children arrived at the border since President Biden took office. Some of them trafficked, some of them drowning in the river. Any issue with that?
You gotta get the votes, man. You can shoot me a note right there on that.
Last question. Ma'am, is the border secure? Do you agree with the administration that the border is secure? We'll let you go. Chairman, one question. In your opinion, is the border secure?
I have to go give a speech. Didn't you hear me?
I heard you. Okay. It's a quick question. Is the border secure?
Answers about the border few and far between from some Democrats on Capitol Hill, including the Secretary of Homeland Security, Alejandro Mayorkas.
I'm Bill Melugin with Fox News. Do you have a few moments to talk?
It's so great. Everybody who's been a follower of Bald Brad Show for a while, we know we laid it into this guy, Alejandro Mayorkas. The guy should just be impeached, should be let go. But it's kind of like you're catching a rodent, you know, digging through your trash. Like a raccoon. This guy's a rodent. He doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know how to do his job, which is why we're seeing massive immigration numbers. Let's see Alejandro Mayorkas' response here.
Talk about the border real quick.
I'm sorry, I don't.
A week before this, we sent this email to DHS, notifying them we would be in D.C. and we were requesting an interview with the secretary. We received no response, so we went to him.
A few moments of your time is all we're asking for, and we'll let you go. Reached out to your office, asked to talk to you last week. They blew us off.
I appreciate it.
Is 900,000 gotaways a secure border?
Thank you.
No comment, sir?
Only Democrats from the state of Texas, the front line of the border crisis, ended up talking to us, and they expressed concern about the border.
This is unsustainable. It has been unsustainable for years.
We have resources down there, but we clearly need to be doing more.
This is our administration. I'm a Democrat. And, you know, they need to understand they own it now. They own it now, and they have to take the steps to correct this. Otherwise, you know, when are we going to see an end to this?
We also put questions to Democratic leadership.
Do you believe the border is secure?
Well, I believe that we have to have a secure border, and I think that we are trying to address, the president has a plan to address that.
Democrats have had majority control here.
What? This lady, I'm so sorry. She's from my home state of California. I don't know how she keeps getting in, folks. I'm sure I'll not vote for her. But Lord Rikus, these Democrats, man, I'll tell you. You know what I love is the whole footage there on the left-hand side of your screen is just nothing but illegal immigrants walking across the border into America. And if you recall, Karine Jean-Pierre told Peter Doocy that just isn't happening. It's not real. It's fake, but we're the conspiracy theorists, as we're seeing literally endless footage of them walking across the Rio Grande rivers, walking into America. But that's not happening according to Karine Jean-Pierre and the Biden administration. No wonder it's a freaking terrible bleep show down there because they don't have a clue of what's going on.
In D.C. for almost 2 years now, and still there has been no significant progress on any immigration legislation in the Senate. I asked Chuck Schumer why that's the case.
Republicans don't want to do immigration reform, even on something as simple as DACA, which has the overwhelming support of the American people. Republicans are blocking it.
Under Republicans, would amnesty of any kind for any group of these migrants who have come across ever be on the table?
No amnesty. I know if Nancy Pelosi was no longer here, there'd be a lot of Democrats that would feel free to do exactly what they know is best, to vote for a secure border and work with us to have a real immigration reform.
And Harris,
I actually don't agree fully with what he said. Now, I could be out of lines here. I don't have much proof to go on. But I know through the conversations, this is anecdotal, that I've had with Republicans and conservatives, is that if you not lock up the border, but if you build a border wall, like Trump said, "Beaut, border wall, huge door right there, just swings open for you. If you do the paperwork, you come in. We want you to work here. We want you to be and live the American dream." Like, we want people to come here legally, but secure the border first. Stop the bleeding that's gushing out, and just, you know, get the things in necessary that we need to stop, again, the bleeding. And then we could talk about amnesty or doing certain things in immigration reform, but they don't want to do that. So if you don't want to stop the bleeding, then why are we talking about all these other things of like trying to put a Band-Aid on it or trying to do reform and do all these other things? It just doesn't make sense. I personally think a lot of Republicans would be on board potentially giving amnesty to a portion, if not all of them, that are already here. And I'll tell you why. It doesn't seem very realistic to literally deport 22 million people plus, you guys. If we're going to say we're conservative and we care about the fiscal budget, we care about spending money, you're talking boatloads of money spent deporting all these people. Maybe we could deport some of them. If they're criminals, see you later. Put them on a 10-year plan. If you commit any crime or do anything and have to put in certain mechanisms that you have to reach in a certain amount of time, if you don't do it, boom, you're out. I think there are some mechanisms that we could put in place to help people that came here illegally that might take some time to accomplish, but will ultimately be a benefit for the country. That's more of a long form conversation to have, longer than we have here on the show, but something needs to be done with the people that come here illegally. And I love this because whenever we talk about this whole thing of securing the border, you know, building a nice, beautiful border wall, what are we called, you guys? What have they been calling us for literally decades now? We're called racist. We're called all these things because we want to secure our border. Well, you have Home Secretary here of Britain coming out and basically addressing what the left says about conservatives and Republicans. Let's go ahead and roll this one regarding border security.
It's not racist for anyone, ethnic minority or otherwise, to want to control our borders. It's not bigoted to say that we have too many asylum seekers who are abusing the system. It's not xenophobic to say that mass and rapid migration places pressure on housing, public services, and community relations. I reject the left's argument that it is hypocritical for someone from an ethnic minority to tell these truths.
It's so weird because I see all ethnicities in that crowd. I see white people, I see people of different faiths, different ethnicities, black people. It looks like there's Indian people, all sorts of ethnicities. But I was told it's all racist here. And you know what they would call her here? In the same way that they were calling, black people Uncle Toms, like Thomas Sowell and others. They're just going to say that she's uplifting white supremacy. She's attributing to that suppression of black people by talking about this very thing, which makes her racist. And she's talking about securing the borders racist.
My parents came here through legal and controlled migration. They spoke the language. They threw themselves into the community. They embraced British values. When they arrived, they signed up to be part of our shared project because the United Kingdom meant something distinct. Integration was part of the quid pro quo. Now, that didn't mean abandoning their heritage, but it did mean adopting British identity, an identity of which we should all be proud.
And she goes on here with her speech, but, again, if you were to say that here in America, you're going to get reamed. You're going to sit there and slandered by the progressive left. And again, she's saying just truths. There's nothing wrong with what she said. You should come here and assimilate into the country of which you want to be a part of. It's not the other way around. We don't assimilate into what you're bringing. You can be a part of it. There's nothing wrong with bringing your culture here. We have a melting pot of cultures. Hell, I live in California. You can experience literally almost every single culture in the world by living here, which is a great thing. You can learn about other people's cultures. You can grab what they do best in those cultures. But remember, if you absorb that culture, if you dress up as that culture, now you're doing cultural appropriation, which the left doesn't want. It is so head spinning, the progressive left, and the damage that they want to do to this country. I've said it time and time again, and I know you're all on board with it. They want to destroy this country from the inside out. And there's many of great nations, especially democracies and republics, that have been destroyed and predominantly have been destroyed from the inside out. Even most recently, World War II got destroyed from the inside out. So this happens all the time. If we look in terms of republics or democracies, we are considered way of an outlier. I mean, way of an outlier. And so what do they want to do? They want to destroy it by indoctrinating our kids, having people rise up to go against our country. That's why you're all seeing footage now, most recently, just the other day, coming out showing a lot of students don't stand for Pledge of Allegiance. They don't respect this country. They don't think it's the greatest country in the world. They think the Nordic countries, they think the socialist countries are the greatest countries in the world because they got these teachers indoctrinating them, which Project Veritas is finally exposing them for what they're doing. And I would like to give us a pat on the back as well as all of you, because look, we're all in this together. We were showed, the Bald Brad Show was on Project Veritas, folks. I will put a short out there because I think we deserve to have a little bit of an acknowledgement. There's nothing wrong with patting ourselves on the back for at least having 5 seconds of fame on Project Veritas. And for those that watch the Bald Brad Show at Project Veritas, thank you very much for having us on. We love it. Thank you so much for showing the Bald Brad Show. Moving into our last story of the day, folks, you're going to love this. You're going to love this. The left, specifically the Democrat Party here, they catch themselves. You've all seen Fox News The 5. It's actually really fun to watch. Well, there's a panel that was talking about abortion and all this other stuff. And you have this co-host, Jessica Tarlov, try to defend abortion access and accidentally made the case for securing the border, the southern border, in the process of trying to make that. Folks, this is so good. It is so good. I'm sorry that the quality's not that great, but you'll hear it just fine. Let's go ahead and roll it.
Well, it's like number 5 in the backseat in the list of issues. And we know the economy's ahead, inflation, crime and policing, immigration in some polls, and education, where Democrats are still favored. But I think that what has gone on, like the story of the 10-year-old rape victim in Ohio that a lot of conservatives said was made up, right? It's not possible that a 10-year-old was raped and had to go to Indiana to get an abortion. Lo and behold.
I don't know of many Republicans saying that wasn't true. You guys let me know in the comments. I think we actually even reported on it that it was true. I'm almost positive I know we reported on a 10-year-old girl. I thought she went to Ohio, or the immigrant went to Ohio, the illegal immigrant, or whatever it was. So I don't know where this is coming from. You guys let me know if that's truth or not. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there's some conservatives out there saying that it wasn't true, but I believe we reported on it months and months back.
It did happen.
Who raped her?
Yeah, who's that?
Is this an undocumented man did.
Yeah.
Yes,
Let's close that border.
Exactly.
Finally.
Thank you.
Don't be so silly. Do you think it really matters?
No, it actually happens all the time in this underground illegal immigration black market because people refuse to close the border.
Americans rape women too. We can all agree on that, right? So this happened to have been someone who was undocumented.
Equity.
Guys.
No, but you pointed.
Did you hear Gutfeld? He goes, go equity. And so she sits there and fumbles through her words. There really isn't much left in terms of that video. But boy, oh boy, it's just amazing how when they don't have their entire thought process put out, they sit there and they put themselves and pigeonhole themselves into their own ideology that ends up being wrong and supportive of a conservative ideology and a Republican ideology of locking up the borders so you don't have 10-year-olds being raped. Go figure. And you know what? She couldn't back out of it. She had an epiphany, and it totally reminds me of that interview with Channel 4 and Jordan B. Peterson when she talked about freedom of speech and him trying to suppress and all these things. And he told her, hey, you know what? You're willing to sit there and offend me by seeking out truth through the use of your free speech. Why are you allowed to engage in that, but somebody else can't? And she was totally baffled by it. So same thing happened here. And you have the 5 Gutfeld sitting there slapping her upside the head, talking about equity and all the crazy stuff that they're pushing. And speaking of crazy stuff that includes abortion, you have Democratic Michigan governor Gretchen Whitmer, I can't believe this lady still gets elected every single time, issued a tweet on Monday declaring that kids are our future. Get this. It says like there's no mirror or there's no connection and assimilation, understanding and information to what they just said previously. Because look, kids are our future, followed less than 2 hours later, a post declaring that she felt that a fight like hell to defend access to abortion in Michigan. Yes, you heard me correctly. Will fight like hell to defend access to abortion in Michigan, while basically at the same time saying kids are our future. It's like the brain just fell out some way, or you hit your head too many times. I don't know. Quote, our kids are our future, and I'm fighting for them. By closing the school funding gap and investing in public education, we're giving our students the support they need to thrive. As long as I'm governor, I will fight like hell to defend access to abortion in Michigan. It's just, there's no wherewithal. There's honest to God, there's no inkling in her mind the asinine disconnection that she just made between the two statements. They don't see it. They honest to God don't see it. The tweets posted the governor's Twitter account highlight the fact that pro-choice proponents do not recognize unborn babies as distinct human individuals with a right to life. Quote, I want every Michigander to know that I am more determined than ever to protect access to safe, legal abortion. It's amazing that they say all this stuff. We literally just did the episode yesterday with AOC talking about how it's an economic crisis, that it's a problem for certain classes because they're being forced to have births because of the whole law that they just removed with Dobbs, as well as Roe v. Wade, and ultimately you had Griswold v. Connecticut basically upheld as well. And so they're calling this whole thing being forced births, and then it's going to sit there and hurt people at the end of the day, and that should be included as to a reason as to why people need abortions. No longer is it safe, legal, and rare, so much so that we also report on the fact that they're putting RVs, abortion RVs, outside of red area and red states so that people can get access to abortions on demand. So don't give me this safe, legal abortion type stuff and rare. Get out of here with it. Now is the time to use every tool in our toolbox to protect women and reproductive health care. Explain to me what you're reproducing. I don't understand that. For the love of God, we keep talking about reproductive and then adding in health care as well. Health care to whom? You're killing somebody. What about the health and care of the baby of which you're chopping up or you're sterilizing or whatever it's going to be? What about the health care for that? And what's, again, being reproduced? It's amazing. It's amazing language. It's like the Inflation Reduction Act. It doesn't actually reduce any inflation. It's just an asinine statement. Or like Black Lives Matter. Yes, they do, but what the hell do you mean by that? Oh, ending the nuclear family? Oh, got it. There's all this stuff under here. Reproductive health care. Sounds great. Oh, we're chopping up babies. Oh, maybe not. Whoa. Unbelievable. Whitmer declared in a statement earlier this year when responding to the U.S. Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade, I will fight like hell to protect every Michigander's right to make decisions about their own body with the advice of a medical professional they trust. I will not give in or give up for my kids, your kids, and the future of our great state. You're talking about killing kids, and they're saying I will not give up or give up for my kids, your kids, and the future of our great state. There's no connection, you guys, at all. I'm telling you, I don't know what happened along the way, but somehow these people are getting elected, and they're pushing this whole thing, and they don't see the connections that they're making. They don't see it at all. You're going to love this because it continues further in terms of talking about kids and access to abortions and pushing this on our education system, because we literally have the Secretary of Education out here talking about reproductive health care for college students. Check this one out.
Thank you, Mr. President. I share your grave concerns about maintaining access to contraception and reproductive health services on our college campuses, and ensuring there's accurate, reliable information for students and for educators. Students need access to healthcare to thrive in school and in life, and that includes reproductive healthcare. Thank you also to Vice President Harris.
You need access to abortions so that you can thrive in life. Isn't that an amazing statement? You should have access to murdering babies so that you can thrive in life. No connection. See all the manipulation here they do with the wording about reproductive health care? Like, oh, who wouldn't be behind reproductive health care? No. This is what they want. It's no longer safe, legal, and rare. It's on demand, and you can get it anywhere and everywhere if we were to leave it up to Democrats here, they would want freaking an abortion clinic on every corner like it's a Starbucks.
In August, we met with college leaders grappling with new, sweeping restrictions to their states. Our work together is ongoing. It's clear. The Dobbs ruling has sown fear and confusion on our college campuses. I worry about the chilling effects this uncertainty, including about access to birth control, will have on students. I think about the 1 in 4 women who experience sexual assault in college and what this means for their safety and their well-being.
I'm curious if he's manipulating that data, because that's purely subjective of what one determines to be sexual assault. And I'm curious, at first I thought he was going to cite the 1 in 4 are victims of rape, which everybody has disproven. I mean, it's literally an asinine statement to make. It's not even close. But somebody can sit there and make a comment towards you like, hey, you got nice jeans, and that's sexual assault all of a sudden. Or that's sit there and now they're saying mean and hurtful things to you. So I take that 1 in 4 as a grain of salt. There definitely stuff like that does happen on campuses. I'm not discrediting that it doesn't. But you're going to throw this in here in terms of reproductive health care and access to contraceptives and birth control. It's an odd stat to throw in there.
I think about the college student I met in September who was unable to enroll until she escaped a violent abuser. Access to reproductive health care is vital to these students and to countless others for success in college and beyond.
What the hell does that have to do with reproductive health care? Is he trying to lump in just regular health care with access to abortions and contraceptives and birth control? I'm confused as to why he's like, oh, I remember this victim who it's terrible to hear about, but, you know, abusive relationship. I mean, am I missing something here maybe? It's just, again, it's literally titled the Top Second Reproductive Rights Task Force Meeting. And when you're talking about reproductive rights, a part of that is abortion and access to contraceptives and birth control and all those other things.
Today, my department is issuing a new resource to remind schools of their obligation under Title IX. For 50 years, Title IX has protected students from sex-based discrimination, and since 1975, it has also protected students from discrimination based on pregnancy, termination of pregnancy, or any related conditions.
So he's going to continue with his department on everything they're doing, and we've all seen Joe Biden and what they want to happen to these children. Not just abortions and killing them, but they want them to be castrated, lop off their boobs. I mean, you guys, there was literally an article, there was a report today that came out that literally it's turning into a $5 billion business industry to sit there and castrate young children, cut off their genitalia, lop off their you-know-what, and everything like that, giving them puberty blockers, hormone enhancers, all sorts of stuff that they want to do with these children. This is like a main foundation now of the Democrat platform. But remember, we're the ones that went further right here. It's not the Democrat Party. I mean, Savannah Hernandez did a phenomenal, and I know I'm throwing a lot at you right now, but Savannah Hernandez used to be with Blaze Media, and now she's a contributor for Turning Point USA, did a phenomenal interview with, I presume to be a black person or an Indian person. Their face was blurred out, but they had darker skin, saying, look, I've been voting Democrat my entire life, but the Democrats don't hold the same values I do anymore. And they're very reminiscent of Ronald Reagan. I didn't leave the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party left me. They've gone further left. The interview literally said she didn't even recognize the Democrat Party anymore. Who could be for this stuff? Who is for castrating children on demand and just wanting it without parental involvement, without the parents being involved in the health care of their child? This is when you get in the scary territory with having the state being left up to decide what is right and what is wrong for your child rather than you. That is some scary stuff, you guys. When you leave it up to the state to decide what's best for your child rather than you do, you're getting into some really dicey territory, because now all of a sudden, when you get into trans rights, gender rights, all that stuff that they're pushing here on these little children, the state's going to decide what's abusive and what isn't. So the second you don't cave into your son or daughter wanting to be called Tracy when they're legally Daniel and wanting to get their schlong chopped off or whatever it may be, now all of a sudden you're an abusive parent and your kid's going to be taken away, and the state will make sure that they get that reproductive health care that they want, that reproductive abortion without you ever knowing or being forced upon you. Or heck, getting that trans surgery for your son or daughter of which that you don't think is right or you don't want to happen to your son or daughter. And if they want to make that decision, it should happen at 18 years old. No. The state's going to decide that for your son or daughter, and they're going to decide it for you. Scary stuff, folks, and that's why you need to vote red here in November. That's why this guy needs to be out of office. That's why the Secretary of Education needs to be gone, because that's their agenda, and Project Veritas and others, including the Bald Brad Show, are exposing everything that they're pushing here. As always, folks, thank you so much for your love and kindness you have, and support us here at the Bald Brad Show each and every week. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you tomorrow here on the Bald Brad Show.